From the biggest winter storms and hurricanes to incredible supercells, this is some insane weather. Number 7. Tornadoes. As the saying goes, tornado, or something like that. If you ever see anything like this in the sky, just run the opposite direction. Also known as twisters, this weather phenomena can be described as rapidly rotating columns of air. And by rapidly, they mean speeds reaching 300 miles per hour. That speed was measured during the 1999 Bridge Creek Moore F5 tornado that tore up southern OKC. Speaking of OKC, this map shows the average annual tornado reports in the USA. On average, tornadoes can stay on the ground for up to 60 miles. The world record for longest damage goes to the 1925 Tri-State tornado that obliterated everything in its path for 235 miles. Do tornadoes happen anywhere else in the world? Judging by this map, the orange hotspots are the locations where tornadoes will most likely occur. Even though the USA sees around 1,200 tornadoes annually, the United Kingdom has the most tornadoes per land area, with at least 34 to 50 tornadoes per year. At the end of the day, Tornado Alley USA reigns supreme when it comes to sheer power. Also, let's not forget other members of the tornado family, like Dust Devils, who have a cool name, Fire Whirls, which are just downright evil, Steam Devils, and of course, Waterspouts, because you should never feel safe in the Florida Keys. Number 6. Hurricanes, typhoons, cyclones. Speaking of the Florida Keys and safety, let's take a look at hurricanes. Before we begin, let's get one thing straight. Hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones are basically the same thing. They're named differently according to the area that they occur in. Hurricanes are storms that occur in the northeastern Pacific Ocean, think Mexico, and the Atlantic Ocean, think Florida. Typhoons occur in the northwestern Pacific Ocean, think Japan, and cyclones occur in the South Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean, think India. Now that we have that out of the way, cyclones are in essence a giant rotating storm system with thunderstorms, exceptionally heavy rains, and of course, the low-pressure center that forms the eye of the storm. In the past few months of 2017, we have seen some devastating hurricanes hit the USA. Hurricane Harvey brought 39.72 inches of rain to some parts of Texas in the span of a few days. In comparison, the average annual amount of rain that Houston, Texas receives is 49.76 inches. Considering these numbers mean nothing to most people, I'll give you a more relevant stat. Louisiana and Texas received 27 trillion gallons of rain in 6 days. Does that put things in perspective? If you put all that water in a square, it would be 2.8 miles long and high. And if you put all that water in the state of Arizona, it would be covered in 1 foot of water. The National Weather Service had this to say, and with the estimated damage costs of around $75 to $100 billion, they were right in their assumptions, or lack thereof. Oh yeah, the wind speeds at landfall were estimated at 130 miles per hour. Then Hurricane Irma came, with blazing fast wind speeds of 150 miles per hour. Florida had evacuation orders in place for more than 6 million people, and the damage done to the Caribbean islands was unprecedented. Last but certainly not least, Puerto Rico was hit by Hurricane Maria, and the amount of damage that has been done is immeasurable. With a population of 3.4 million, Puerto Rico lost power across the island, and some areas will be left without power for up to 6 months. It might feel like the world is coming to an end, but rest assured, hurricanes have always been a giant show of force by Mother Nature. Number 5. Winter storms. When it's time to cozy up next to the fireplace with a warm cup of hot chocolate and your tablet, remind yourself that you might unexpectedly get buried in 59 inches of snow. That's exactly what happened during the winter of 2008 in Tibet. But hey, Tibet might as well be on a different planet if you live in the US, right? Well, how does 189 inches of snow sound like? That's the snow cover Mount Shasta in California received in the span of a week. Or maybe the 1993 storm of the century might be more convincing. 26 states and around half of the US population were affected by this supermassive storm. Temperatures dropped to -12 degrees Fahrenheit in some parts of the country, and the worst areas were covered in 50 inches of snow. Now, the Midwest doesn't care about -12. I mean, that's like what, a regular Monday? But it's still pretty cold. Number 4. Thunderstorms. Do you know what to do if you find yourself in the middle of a brutal thunderstorm? Well, first make sure you're not close to any trees or tall metal objects. If you feel a tingling sensation in your skin and your hair rises, drop to the ground and place your hands on your knees, hiding your head in between. After that, you're just gonna need a lot of luck. Thunderstorms happen all over the globe and vary in size. And I don't mean to make this video all about America, but the record for the longest thunderbolt is held by the state of Oklahoma. It covered a horizontal distance of 200 miles. Does that even sound possible to you? I'm having a hard time grasping the size of it, to be honest. As with any wild claims on the internet, picture it didn't happen, bro. And unfortunately, I have no pictures of this one. The record for the longest duration of a lightning strike is 7.74 seconds. It occurred in southern France back in 2012. So thunder and lightning and Thor are pretty cool on their own, but why not throw volcanoes in the mix? Volcanic lightning is truly a sight to behold. The material and gases that are thrown into the atmosphere develop into clouds that need to neutralize quickly. Thus, lightning happens. It's either that or magic, so take your pick. Number 3. Monsoons. I feel like we're getting way too extreme here. Let's press the brake pedal and look at monsoons, otherwise known as big sea breezes. That sounds so relaxing, right? When there's a major difference between warm temperatures on land and cold temperatures in the ocean, colder air from the oceans moves to land, and then it gets hotter, and then it releases all the moisture it holds, and boom, you got yourself a midsummer night's storm. This process is becoming increasingly important for farmers in India. This is a picture of an area affected by monsoons on May 28th, before the season starts. And this is a picture from August 28th, when the season is in full effect. You can spot the difference yourself. I guess it's pretty concrete science, since there are charts that will tell you when monsoon season starts all around the globe. But it's not all fun and games with monsoons. Just like cyclones, they can bring way too much rainfall. Major floods happen all the time. Number 2. Weird clouds. Let's take a collective look into some of the strangest cloud formations. We have these lenticular clouds spotted in Kamchatka, Russia. Wow, it's either that or ancient alien spaceships. When you look up and you're not sure if you're staring at the ocean or a cloud formation, you have just experienced undulatus asperatus clouds. Congratulations! And if it looks like the world is ending because there's strange colors in the skies, you're most likely looking at polar stratospheric clouds, or maybe the mushroom-shaped anvil clouds, which kind of look like a nuclear blast. And how about some morning glory clouds? Look at those little tubes of awesome. And of course, my favorite, mammotus cloud formations. Just look at how awesome these clouds are. Number 1. Supercells. I figured clouds were a nice segue for our final case of insane weather. Supercells. Supercells are a mix of a tornado, a hurricane, and a little bit of a thunderstorm. And of course, the biggest and baddest supercells can be found in the Great Plains of the USA, also known as Tornado Alley. They're pretty much the cause of tornadoes in the first place. Supercell thunderstorms can also create the perfect conditions for a microburst. A microburst is the sudden burst of downdraft wind or rain, meaning everything gets dumped on one spot in a crazy fashion. Here we can see a wet microburst beating up Bangkok City in Thailand. And this is what a forest looks like after being hit by a microburst wind. As you can see, the force behind the phenomena is insane. Apart from being terribly dangerous, supercells probably provide one of the best backdrops for photography. Check out the featured comment below, subscribe for more World and Earth, and I'll see you in the next video.